Hello and welcome back. My name's Andrew Keeping and I'm a guitarist and producer and composer. And today what I'm going to talk about is a rather exciting development for me. Many of you will know that I use a Midi guitar, the Roland Multiac concert grand guitar, to be able to create virtual instruments whilst playing the instrument of my choice. I'm a much better guitarist than I am keyboard player. And many of the virtual instruments that we receive and that we have in the recording studio, they gear themselves largely towards the keyboard. The keyboard means that you can play with one hand playing a melody, and the left hand can use key switches to adjust and adapt to the articulations. It's a very precise technique that one develops over the years. But as I said, I'm not such a free musician or expressive musician on the keyboard as I am on the guitar. So the problem with the guitar is I need to use both hands to play the instrument. So I cannot use the key switches. And the only way I can do that is by going into my Midi editor after I've recorded it and adapting the key switches accordingly to their CC controllers. This can be quite time consuming, and when you're working on a large work for a producer or a director and you're under a bit of a close time frame, you want to be able to be expressive and quick and record straight away. And this is where this brilliant device, the Breath Controller, comes into play. This is by a company called TEC Control, TEC, and this is their BBC 2 breath controller. It allows for assignment of 4 different options of MIDI control. So when you heard me playing earlier, I had the breath controller at the beginning, which allows for the expression. The expression, I'll show you how it works, but the expression allows for a phrasing, a breath phrasing. So if I was a flautist, I would naturally push more if I wanted to get a bit more edge to the sound. I would phrase through and I would release it just at the end of the phrase, and that gives it the more authentic sound. I can also assign to the bite controller here a bit of a growl if I wanted to, or a flutter tongue if I wanted to. You heard me use the saxophone, the Soprano Saxophone earlier, and I used there a bit of a growl on the top notes, some of the higher notes, quite an authentic sound on a saxophone. So I used that. Now, the most useful method for me was the vibrato. Now, most musical instrumentalists use vibrato as a very musical technique to be able to create more of a feel and an emotion to enhance the music. Now, on the guitar like this, a vibrato would be, I've got it buzzing, but I can also use an up and down vibrato, a faster vibrato. So you can see, if I was a saxophone player, saxophonists will use their mouth and the control of the breath and the hand to be able to create a particular vibrato, and they can speed that vibrato up and they can slow it down. With the guitar, with the MIDI guitar, if I did that, the MIDI control, because we're using binary code, so 0101, it would not be able to identify the different notes. It would just read it as da 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 without it sounding natural or fluid. So having the breath controller, I can assign the nod to the vibrato. When I want to apply the vibrato, I can nod forwards and backwards. I can also control the speed of the vibrato by tilting my head to the left and tilting my head faster vibrato to the right. This means that when you saw me earlier, I was moving around all over the place and I was breathing and controlling, and that was giving it the most authentic sound. So if I have a problem with it, I can actually adjust it afterwards, but it saves me so much time in the long run being able to use the BBC 2 TEC Breath Controller. in conjunction with Audio Modeling's brilliant SWAM engine. Now, all SWAM instruments are designed to be played in real time by shaping the sound like a real instrumentalist would, just as I displayed earlier. Now, these instruments use Audio Modeling's SWAM engine, which is the synchronous wave acoustic modelling technology, and it's all conceived by the brilliant Stefano Liccato. It provides an exceptional playability and realism. These are not samples. They use pre-recorded articulations, but complex virtual instruments. They're capable of shaping almost any kind of articulation if you assign them accordingly and phrasing it in real time. They can be played using any MIDI device, either a keyboard. As you saw here, I'm using the MIDI Roland MIDI guitar, going through to get the MIDI sound and the data, I have to run it through a MIDI synthesizer. In this case, I'm using Roland's GR55 synthesizer, and just coming out the patch, the MIDI cable out into my audio interface, into my computer, and my DAW of choice is Cubase Pro9. So from that, I use the virtual instrument by SWAM. Interestingly enough, though, you have to assign it accordingly to the manual to your different device. Now, most geeky people like reading manuals. I skirt through the manual, I get a general idea, and then I get hands-on, down and dirty, to get a feel for actually experimenting with it, trying it out. But I have to say their manual is very clear and succinct without it being too nerdy. The other thing to note is that direct programming via a sequencer is also possible. You do not have to have a MIDI device to be able to use these Audio Modeling SWAM engine. And that means that it's very versatile, very useful. Right, let's go to the computer and see how this thing actually works. Okay, so here we are. On the screen, you can see we have the SWAM engine, and let me just take you in straight away to, I've plugged in to my laptop through the USB, the TEC controller there, the breath controller. And it has a setup. I'll bring that onto the screen now. So you can see, you plug in the device and you can actually control, if you have a look at this, this is the breath control going in now. You can adjust the sensitivity. You can adjust the sensitivity of the bite. There you go. The nod. And the tilt. So that allows you to, as you adjust the sensitivity, it allows you to be able to then go in and adapt it to your style of playing, your movements, and how you would feel comfortable. Let me just show you at the bottom here as well, the breath control. That's read by the Midi CC channel 2. So that's your breath controller channel. If we go to the bite, that's Midi CC 1. The nod is CC 12 and the tilt is CC 13. These are the areas that it recognizes. So let's bring up now. I'll come out of the TEC control. You can see it move in there, but we don't need that in there at the moment. Here's the saxophones part. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to load in, I've already done it for this purpose, but you've got here breath controller, keyboard controller, so you can see how it would adapt to any device. Because I've set up the TEC control, BBC 2, I'm going to click on this breath controller here, and that configures it automatically into here. Now, you have to assign it. So what we're going to do, we're going into options down here. In the options section, you come to the MIDI mapping. So we're going to map our SWAM engine with the controls that we want. So here at the top is the expression. This is the expression control. This is the breath that we're using. And that comes into CC2 as we showed on the BBC 2 actual control screen. So we've got the CC2 there. The vibrato depth, actually it's set up as CC1. That's not right. We don't want that. We want the nod to be the vibrato. So that would be 12. The vibrato rate is at 13. And then the growl that I mentioned earlier, that's the bite down on the teeth here. That would be assigned to CC1. That's the bite control. We can check that out, and by coming back to the main. Okay, so here we are. I've assigned the controllers. Let's just test out the phrasing, the breath phrasing on it. You can see as I breathe, it goes up on the expression on the screen. As I bite down, that should be assigned to 1. You can hear the growl on there. Now let's phrase it a little bit. Let's use the vibrato. There you go, and you see how it works. As you can see, this really frees me up to be able to be more expressive in my playing using the Midi guitar. And there are videos out there demonstrating what it does with the keyboard. It's an exceptional device for that, both the SWAM engine by audio modeling, but also the TEC Breath Control. It works brilliantly on the keyboards as well. But I just wanted to demonstrate today just how versatile it can be for us guitarists as well. And hope to see you next time. All the best.